Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Hatmaker, the co-founder and executive and artistic director of Art of Elan. We are so thrilled to be joined today by composer and bassist Jory Herman. Welcome, Jory.
Hello, hello.
We are just delighted to be premiering a new work of yours this Wednesday, November 15th at Loose Loft as part of our Downtown Sounds concert that's in collaboration with the California Festival. And I'm hoping you can just share a little bit about this piece. This is a short work written for violin, double bass, and vibraphone, I believe. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, well, this is actually my Opus 2, my second work I've ever performed. The first one was for Art of Elan in 2021, in November that year as well. So I'm excited to be able to come back and write something for Art of Elan again. Kate and I originally talked about having a piece, premiered my second work, and just kind of thinking of the sounds that existed. And as a bass player, I obviously wanted to write something that featured bass, and combination-wise, violin was a go-to. I wanted to write a piece for my two colleagues and friends in San Diego, Ji-Sun Yang and Sam Hager, and who wanted to feature in a concert for Art of Elan for some time now. So excited to be able to feature them on this piece. And the next component was adding some sort of maybe percussion element to it, and vibraphone was an interesting instrument that I wanted to feature along with that. But in our initial conversations, Kate and I talked, I wanted to do something that maybe was a bigger project than just, okay, write a piece and then perform it. And about that time, I had hooked up with a group called Bass Players for Black Composers, and came across a wonderful young composer of the name Mason Bynes. And I had played some of her works and listened to some of her music. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to kind of write simultaneously, her write a piece for the same instrumentation and me write a piece, and kind of have conversations throughout the creation of the works, and kind of see, like, we know where it starts, but where does it end up? And so you'll see on Wednesday what exactly we've created, both of us individually.
I think that's so incredible, and especially the emphasis on the creative process being just as important as sort of the destination, which we'll experience, as you said, on Wednesday. I'm wondering if you could compare sort of the style or the compositional language of this more recent piece with the first one you wrote for Art of Elan. Are they relatively the same? Do you feel like your compositional voice has evolved in that, since then? What kind of sound world are you creating now with this Opus 2?
Yeah, I'm still in my infancy for composing, so it's work in progress. But I guess the sound world I would compare. I'm a fan of kind of minimalism and kind of textural sound worlds. Composers like John Luther Adams, things that where you can kind of get lost in the sounds and the textures and dreamier, mystical places. So that's what I was exploring with some of the combination of sounds in this piece, and it's titled G's, Jeez, and I kind of did a play on words. I started with the names Ji-Sun and Sam, and squished their names together to make a G-Sam. And from there, squished it further to G and S, which in German musical notation is the note G and E flat, actually. And so I use this element of G as kind of a center component to the work. You'll hear at the very beginning, all of the instruments start on G, and it works its way to an E flat, and then kind of comes back down. So I use the idea of working away, but always come back to a central idea. So that's what I was exploring. And you'll hear in the piece that it starts out unified, pulls apart, kind of explores, it goes to wild places, but then ultimately come back to the bedrock. And in the score, I snuck a few little inside jokes and personal things for Sam and Ji-sun. They're avid hikers, so I put things like, exploring the desert, hiking in the desert heat and things like that. So not that you'll feel that when you're listening to it, but it'll evoke some sort of San Diego or desert sort of feeling in some of those moments.
I I love it. And I feel like that's so perfect and fitting for this being part of this California festival that we're all celebrating for these 2 weeks here in November. And of course, as a bassist with the LA Phil, you are probably doing a number of things as part of this California festival celebration. Do you mind sharing your thoughts on what this festival means, both for you as a composer and as a musician, but I think for all artists in this moment in California, so many of us have been sort of separated and isolated these last few years. So it's nice to kind of come together, maybe even in the same way your piece does, to try to do something with some unity. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on
Yeah.
just the festival in general.
Well, as a musician, performer, bass player, I've always enjoyed performing new works and supporting composers and fresh music written, now, and being a part of the LA Phil. That's almost, part of our DNA. We're constantly performing commissions and large scale productions and new works, and it's, just part of the culture of LA is to support that sort of vision. Of course, we do everything else, Beethoven, Brahms, Mahler, but part of our whole scope is supporting all music. And to be able to put it together and spearhead a project with the San Francisco Symphony and the San Diego Symphony, and then have all organizations around those cities come together in a statewide festival. It's a great moment for music, and I hope it's an idea that many other areas or states or cities could copy, because there's a lot of excitement in the month of November for a lot of amazing works. Me as a composer, it's kind of weird for me to say, myself as a composer, just because it's kind of new. I've only written 2 works, and so it's hard to think of myself as a composer. But to be featured in this festival is an honor, and to be able to write something for my friends in San Diego is very special. So thank you for Art of Elan for joining the vision of this project and supporting a lot of great new music. And I'm excited to hear the Mason Biden's piece that will go alongside my work.
Thank you, Jory. Yeah, we're thrilled too. And I think, Mason's piece, which we won't give it all away here today, but Mason's piece is actually now even evolved to a short film score that we've now been working on in collaboration with a visual artist, Danielle Dean, who I believe splits her time between San Diego and LA. So it's sort of funny, the synchronicity of all these different worlds and these different spheres and these different disciplines, somehow all being tied into the same creative process that we're celebrating and exploring as part of the festival this month. I hope this festival will happen again. I would like to think it could, certainly in a state that's sort of known for its spirit of innovation and entrepreneurial ideas. So yeah, I think maybe even if it's another year before we do a festival, we want to get you writing an Opus 3, certainly for Art of Elan. So this is a real treat for us to be able to present your work. We do still have some tickets available. This again is a performance at Loose Loft. This is downtown San Diego, Wednesday, November 15th. It's a 7 p.m. show. We have the doors and bar opening at 6. And I think it's actually, I'm just reviewing this in my head, going to be several world premieres. We've invited some colleagues from the local jazz scene who have written some pieces that will also be showcasing that night. So it's going to be a big evening of celebration and all new music and all good things. So thank you again for making time. Tickets are available on our website, of course, artofelan.org, and we'll hope to see everyone there. Thanks again for your time today, Jory.
Yeah, thank you.